Card debt is a thing of the past.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Neil. Take it from someone who's been there. Call Trinity and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks retreated in Europe and Asia as worries persist about the conflict in the Middle East. Oil prices rose and U.S. futures declined. In Tokyo, shares in Japan's Nippon Steel jumped 2.3% after it announced the completion of its $15 billion acquisition of U.S. Steel. The Bank of England has kept its main interest rate at a two-year low of 4.25% as fears grow that the conflict between Israel and Iran will escalate. The decision by the bank's 9-member Monetary Policy Committee was widely anticipated. With UK inflation at 3.4%, policymakers were mindful of how the conflict in the Middle East will have an impact on oil prices. Wall Street closed today in celebration of the Juneteenth holiday. The markets will reopen on Friday morning. With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Mostly clear and warm this evening, a low of 71. Tomorrow, similar to today with a mix of sunshine and clouds, we'll have a high of 92, a 20% chance of an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon or early evening. For the weekend, more the same, highs in the mid-90s, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in. It's Sports Talk Media Network here on a big Thursday night in South Carolina. Glad you're with us. Phil Kornblut here in Columbia with the plumber. Why are you so red? Did you go to a tanning bed or something?
I may have gotten some time in the sun today.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I look like a
tomato. Are you burned?
No, I mean, yeah.
I mean, just what part hurts the worst?
Just my face. My arms are fine. I forgot to put sunscreen on.
Oh, my God. You look like a tomato. Serious.
Thanks.
It's hot out there. Easy to get a burn. Chris Bergen joining us from the Berge Palace over in Sardis, where, Berge's, he's always – every chance he get, he's out by a pool, so he's perfectly tan. He never gets burned. How are you, sir?
This is true. I'm doing well, thank you. Actually, I spent a good bit of time outside today too. Got a chance to play some golf.
Oh,
so that was a nice morning.
My phone must have been turned off when you called me with the invitation.
No. I told you yesterday or the day before what time we were teeing off, and you did not like the 9 a.m.
No, I don't do anything at 9 a.m. No. Like I said, if it happens before 11 o'clock, it ain't good. I have the opposite view of Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier said anything after 2 a.m. is you're going to get in trouble. For me, anything before 11 a.m., you're going to get in trouble. So, opposite point of view. What'd you shoot?
Actually, I shot a 94.
Oh, look at you.
Didn't hit it that well, but really probably the best round of golf in terms of my short game, chipping and putting, that I've had in a while. Still haven't reached my ultimate goal, but I don't play enough, so I don't get upset. But I want to get to a point where I can break 90.
Well, I know your ultimate goal is to surpass me as the media golf king of South Carolina. But that ain't happening. I'm not giving up the crown that easily.
Well, I can't blame you.
So don't even
think
about
play
it.
A whole lot more than I do.
I haven't picked up a club. I'm going to play this weekend for the first time in a long time. Got to get the game back in shape for the summer tour and get ready for some events. Okay, where'd you play? Y'all played at Trace's?
Yes, over here in Florence, one of the nicer golf courses here in the PD.
Yeah. Very nice.
So they're
course.
gearing up. They've got some kind of tournament. I think it may be a qualifier for the Florence Amateur. I think it's going to take place tomorrow and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So we picked a pretty good day to get out there because I don't believe the course is going to be available the next 2 days.
Okay, our phone number is 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. Plenty of time for your phone calls tonight. If you couldn't get through last night, we'll be happy to take you on tonight. I want to pick back up before we get into the newsy stuff of the day and talk about the World Series. Jason Patterson will be with us from Omaha at 6:35. And I've got to confirm, I'm hoping that Coach Holbrook will be with us tonight at 7:35. 7:05, USC basketball player Cam Scott will join us, the former standout guard from Lexington going into his second year at South Carolina. But he is also hosting a series of basketball camps here in the next few days in the Midlands area of South Carolina. We'll give you details on all that and how you can sign up for it if you haven't already. But looking forward to talking some basketball with Cam Scott as well tonight here on the program, plus plenty of recruiting. Clemson gets the commitment from Dre Quinn today, the defensive end out of Georgia. We'll talk about that coming up in the recruiting segment. Also, word came out today that Clemson is losing one of the members of its incoming class. He'd already enrolled at Clemson. He'd already gone into school in January, and he was there for spring practice, but he didn't participate in spring practice for what they called a hamstring issue, though Larry Williams of Tiger Illustrated had some different information. Marquise Henderson out of Belton Honeypath is no longer with the program, dismissed from the program according to a release from Clemson today. We'll talk more about that coming up. He was a guy that was a terrific player for the Bears, both offensively and defensively. Yeah, I mean, he posted some fantastic numbers and went to Clemson. He could play receiver. He could play running back. He could play a cornerback. I think they were going to look at him at wide receiver, but he never got on the field in spring ball and had some other things going on apparently, so he's no longer with the program. We'll talk more about that coming up. But I do want to get back into our conversation of last night about the Gamecocks and this summertime talk of the Gamecocks and what I'm seeing, based on the personnel, what you think the personnel might be able to evolve into, and some of the conversation that the South Carolina team is going to be a college football playoff team here in 2025. We'll talk about that as well. But we got to talk about the World Series. We're set with the championship series, Coastal Carolina and LSU, and you got a team on a 26-game winning streak. You got a team in LSU that at one time was ranked number 1 in the country, has been good all year, has won a bunch of national championships. They know this stage extremely well. This is a terrific matchup, maybe the best pitching in the country against maybe some of the best hitting in the country, top to bottom, plus some exceptional pitching as well. But, Bergie, what about poor Arkansas? What did the Razorbacks do to turn the baseball gods in Omaha against them again? But, I mean,
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think it has anything to do with the Omaha curse on Arkansas, and I'll tell you why in just a second. By the way, it is the Florence Amateur. I wanted to get that correct. Mm-hmm. Traces is hosting the next 2 days, so not qualifying for it. It is the Florence Amateur, so might be some really good, much better golf than I played today out there the next 2 days. Mm-hmm. But in terms of Arkansas, and I can hardly wait again until Jason Patterson gets on because I have to ask what in the world was Dave Van Horn thinking. Here again, now I never played baseball at all competitively growing up. I've covered a lot of baseball, broadcasted a lot of baseball, so I think I have a pretty good idea as to how the game is played. But it just boggles my mind how coaches who are supposed to be at the top of their game would do just some of the dumbest things I've ever seen. You've got a tie ball game. In an elimination game, you win or you go home. And Jared Jones is at the plate, unquestionably LSU's best hitter with a runner at second base. First base is open. What in the world are they doing pitching to him last night?
It's a good question.
I thought so.
I don't have the answer. I mean, Dave Van Horn's making millions of dollars to make that decision.
Bad decisions.
It's like let me take you someplace where I do have familiarity. Last night, the Yankees are playing the Angels, and they're down a run in the bottom of the eighth. No, bottom of the ninth, I think it is. And they've got first and second, nobody out. And they can't get the bunt down. And eventually the hitter pops up. Now, on the one hand, not getting the bunt down, that's a violation of baseball rule number 1. You got to be able to get the bunt down. Then again, but I still would have gotten the bunt down. I still would have wanted, because Judge was up next. And, of course, the thought was, had they advanced the runners with one out, they would have walked Judge, but that would have loaded the bases for Cody Bellinger. And then all you need is a sacrifice fly anyway to tie the ball game. You still got to get the bunt down. So my point, to kind of go along with what you're saying, it's about execution, and even at the highest level, they can't execute properly all the time. Now, I guess same thing with decisions that managers make or coaches make. They don't always make the right decision.
Okay, well, let me go back. Since you brought up execution and the players, then what in the world was Arkansas thinking defensively when Wahiva, their shortstop, got first and second with one out in the inning? They have a chance to win the game still. There's a ground ball hit right at him. Tailor-made double play.
Yeah.
Instead, he goes to third. What are you thinking? And then you have the disastrous play in left field, which I felt sorry for the left fielder. I mean, that's a play you've got to make. But Aloy Wahiva is probably going to be the Golden Spikes Award winner, is the best player in college baseball. What in the world was he thinking? Turn the double play, get out of the inning, you win the ball game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But again,
they're cursed. They're cursed because you're right. His thought process, and what do they teach you in baseball from Little League all the way up? Always think ahead. Always think about, if the ball comes to me, this is what I'm going to do. That's the most elementary thing in baseball. If the ball is hit to me, here's what I'm going to do. He obviously wasn't thinking clearly because, as you pointed out, and anybody watching the game could see, he had ample time to turn the double play and end the ball game and force another game tonight. Instead, we have no baseball. Thank you very much, Arkansas. And then you had the play out in left field. And were you surprised? I mean, he had to run in on the ball. He kind of had to lean down. Maybe kind of a dive, but the ball did hit him in the glove and go through him, but they gave him no error. They called that a hit. So I was a little surprised that they ruled that as a base hit when the fielder hit him. It hit him in the glove. Maybe he lost it in the sun. I do know. No, that was. Were they at night by then? I guess they were. I guess it was nighttime by then. Yeah. Okay. Sun's not an issue. Maybe he lost in the lights. It's possible he could have lost in the lights. But the point is, it's still fresh in the mind of every Arkansavian, what is it? Arkansian?
I would think probably Arkansian.
Arkansian. It's fresh in their mind what happened. How many years ago did they let the foul ball drop?
Yep.
Just a couple years ago. They still are dealing with that. And now they had a double whammy here. I mean, you're talking about, 2 shots to the noggin. Okay, so let's move on. It's LSU and Coastal Carolina. I do believe that Coastal Carolina will be the favorite of the nation here, don't you? Don't you think people want to see LSU and the SEC go down?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, what would that be if they win 6 consecutive World Series crowns by the SEC? I think they're presently riding a 5-game winning streak in the College World Series, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, there's no question. Outside of the folks in Louisiana and the LSU fans, and they will take over Omaha. I mean, it's going to feel like an LSU home game, I would think, out there. But the other around, and certainly the people tuning in the next couple of days are going to be pulling for Coastal. What I am surprised, and I don't understand baseball odds to begin with, but it appears that LSU is an overwhelming favorite. They're minus something, and then Coastal's a plus something. Like I said, I don't quite get how that works, but
that tells me.
I'm telling you, I think again, Coastal's being underappreciated.
Yeah, I was going to say that tells me the odds makers aren't paying attention.
I don't think so.
Because I mean, Coastal's got the arms to disarm LSU's offense, right? I think we all know how good Coastal's pitching is, and again, the rest of their lineup is dangerous as well too. So, I'm going to pick Coastal. I'm going to pick Coastal to win this thing. Maybe 3 games. Maybe it'll go 3 games, and we'll have a showdown on Monday night for the national championship. Or 6 o'clock, I think, is when that game would start on Monday night. That'd be kind of cool if we could. Of course, I'd be just as happy if Coastal won it in 2 games. Go ahead and get the sweep and get on back to Columbia and get on with things. I think they're very capable. I know LSU's going to throw some hard throwers at them as well with a very good offensive lineup. I just think this Coastal team is it destined? I don't want to say they're destined to win this thing. It's nobody's particular destiny. You make your own destiny. But to do what they've done and to go through who they have gone through to get to this point, there should be no question about their quality and their ability to face down anybody they play.
If you had a 56-win team in the SEC or the ACC, they would be the favorite. But because there's still people out there, I think there's a narrative that Sun Belt where they really challenged. Well, they won a super regional at Auburn. They've already knocked out the ACC. They'll get a chance here at the SEC. And I think you're right about the pitching. I think it's going to be dynamite. Cade Anderson, I would assume, will go Saturday for LSU. And my guess is Cameron Fluke will go for Coastal. And, Phil, we've talked about this several times throughout the season, and especially now in recruiting with regards to South Carolina and its pitching. And we talked so often about how they don't have any hard throwers on their team. If you want to see how you get to the World Series, just watch any of these games. I mean, Arkansas is bringing in guys that are throwing 100 miles an hour out of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd almost have to add 2 of Carolina's pitchers together to get up to 100 miles per hour.
Careful,
that's where that's exactly where you have to be. You got to have power arms like that.
You got to pile on the Gamecocks here in the off season. Okay, let's run to the break, and we'll come back and dive into more of the top news stories of the day. And also, if you want to jump on board with your phone calls, the number is 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery Lucky number. You can also send us a text message as well. That number is 803-900-4847. You ever heard of copper tone? You've never heard of copper tone? Let me suggest you go buy some copper tone.
Panama Jack, come on.
Be right back in a moment.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
She said, give me 6 packs of Brooks and Dunn. If you want a country girl, you just found one. Let's slip away. Yeah, in a Chevrolet.
All right, so today word came out from Clemson that dismissed from the program freshman receiver Marquise Henderson, a Clemson team spokesman, said, quote, Clemson has made the decision to dismiss Marquise Henderson from its program. We wish him the best as he moves forward, end quote. Henderson was a standout at BHP, where he had over 8,000 career all-purpose yards, also a standout in the secondary. I don't think he ever came off the field. I think he was also involved in all aspects of special teams. He committed to Clemson in December of 2023 over Virginia Tech, NC State, Georgia Tech, and Cincinnati. He enrolled in January and missed most of spring practice with what head coach Dabo Swinney called hamstring issues. However, in April, Larry Williams of Tiger Illustrated wrote a piece suggesting there was more to Henderson's absence from practice than a hamstring injury. Williams wrote that Henderson needed to, quote, fulfill a set of accountability standards to ensure a return, end quote. So, to go by what Larry's saying, a little bit more than stuff on the field, some stuff off the field, maybe in terms of, I don't know, maybe it's academics or maybe it's attention to detail, work ethic. I don't know. But the bottom line here is one of the signees from the 25 class no longer at Clemson, a talented guy who I imagine will land somewhere, Bergie, and find a place to get his career kick-started once again.
No, I would think so if he can get his act together, because it sounds like he's got some issues he needs to deal with not only on the football field but off the field beforehand. Just kind of reading through both Larry Williams' comments on that and also some of the other stories that came out today. I have sort of a general question. I'm going to use him as the example. Here's a kid who enrolled in January, didn't really go through spring but was on the team then. You would assume an 8,000-yard rusher in 47 career games during his high school career and leading BHP to the state semifinals, probably had a fairly decent NIL deal to come to Clemson. When do those kick in? I mean, was he getting paid while he was sitting on the sidelines during spring? And if so, does he have to give some of that money back since he's been dismissed from the team?
Those are good questions.
And how would that work in general?
Yeah,
not just. I'm not trying to pick on Marquise Henderson, but here's a good example to ask.
Yeah, those are good questions. From what I've been able to read, I don't know that he falls into that category of the big money. Okay, yeah, he was a good player in high school. Clemson was a late offer for him. You go back to his recruiting; they kind of came in late with him and turned him in their direction. So I don't know that he was a big money guy. They spent a lot of money on him in terms of the share. So keep in mind, July 1, which is coming up, that's the start date for everything. So what schools are doing all across the country is they are, for the biggest prospects, the most expensive prospects, they are front-loading the deals. So, and this is one thing that, of course, it disgusts me, because it just shows how low people in college athletics will go. I mean, you cannot put a rule in place, Bergie, that they will not try to get around. Now, they're not breaking any rules per se right now, but the spirit, it's about the spirit. And so it just tells me, and it's going to be worse. We all know that throughout history, people involved in college sports have made under-the-table deals. We all know that's happened forever. And nobody's going to dispute that. So now we're supposed to have some sanity in place with these new rules, yet we can't even get to the start date. We can't even get to July 1, and these folks are doing everything they can to work around it. So what they're doing, of course, is they're rushing to front-load the deals for the best players, because starting July 1st, NIL deals have to go through the clearinghouse. So all of a sudden, these sweetheart so-called NIL deals of $7 million or $5 million or $3 million, they're going to be running up against a brick wall, because the clearinghouse is going to probably shut a lot of that down, because they're going to determine that this particular player, your market value isn't that. And, of course, what the schools are doing, because it's market-driven, they're outbidding one another. So they're throwing $1 million at this guy. Well, his next favorite school might top that by going to 1.2, and then the other might come back to 1.5. The market forces are driving everything. They're inflating everything for players who aren't worth this kind of money. But that's the position that the colleges are in now. And so, but that's just the NIL side of it. The $20.5 million, that block of money is sitting there, and you can't touch that until July 1st. And that's not NIL money. That's pay-for-play money. People need to understand the difference. The $20.5 million that schools who are opting in are going to start with, that's not NIL dollars. That's the school paying the player. They might call it NIL, but it's not NIL. NIL is what a player goes out and is able to produce through his or her social media status or outside entities willing to pay that individual for advertising rights or personal appearances or signing autographs. That's NIL. The 20.5, that's the money that schools are having to set aside out of their budgets to make up in the settlement, to make up for what hasn't been paid over all these other years. This is what the Supreme Court, this is what the settlement was. They reached that figure. That is not NIL. That's just pure, we're going to pay this percentage of money towards our football team, and then we're going to divide that money up among the football players. And, you know, the quarterback's going to get this amount of money, and the defensive end is going to get that amount of money, and it's going to decrease as you go down the roster from the most important to the least important. So what they're doing, of course, now with the recruiting on the guys who are not in school now, the ones they're recruiting for the 2026 class, is they're front-loading. They're making the big deals now before they come under scrutiny starting on July 1. Deals made now apparently are able to slide through without the scrutiny that's going to start happening on July 1. So, again, it's just another indication of how even in this new era of college athletics, they're still going to try and skirt the rules and work things, you know, as best they can to acquire the talent no matter what it takes or how much it costs.
Well, I'm looking forward to the first lawsuit against the NIL Go or whatever the clearinghouse is going to be called, because if some school tells Josh Cohen he's worth $8 million, but the collective or the group, the NCAA, says no, his value is at $1 million, there's a lawsuit coming because they're going to restrict his trade.
I would think so. We'll be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Mostly clear and warm this evening, a low of 71. Tomorrow, similar to today with a mix of sunshine and clouds, we'll have a high of 92, a 20% chance of an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon or early evening. For the weekend, more of the same, highs in the mid-90s, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Los Angeles Dodgers organization says it asked Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents to leave the Dodgers Stadium grounds after they arrived at a parking lot near one of the gates. The team says the agents requested permission to access the stadium's parking lot, but they were denied entry and were asked to leave. Local media reported dozens of federal agents with their faces covered arrived in SUVs and cargo vans to a lot near the stadium's Gate E entrance. As Israel and Iran exchanged more attacks, President Trump sought to keep open the door to diplomacy on Tehran's nuclear program, saying he would make up his mind within 2 weeks on whether the U.S. military will get directly involved in the conflict. More details at srnnews.com.
When your pipes panic, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning steps right in, fast and friendly. Josh and his team aren't just fixing leaks, they're restoring your peace of mind. This is when you're at your most vulnerable. You got a problem, you need a solution. They're not coming out to upsell you or talk you into something new this or new that. You'll appreciate their process. They'll tell you what needs to get done and what it'll cost before they ever even bring in their tools to start the work. They're locally owned, which unfortunately is no longer the norm in the Midlands. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning will treat every home like their own. They've done work for me, for my brother, countless numbers of Point listeners. Dial 799-2222 or visit franklinplumbing.sc.com and you tell them Kev from The Point sent you. You will experience plumbing that's more than just a fix. It's a solution from people who care about their work and stand by it. When you need them, please don't panic. Just call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, 799-2222.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing the Wing and a Prayer Wednesday special. Purchase an order of wings and a drink and get a free gift card for the arcade. We have some of the most mouth-watering jumbo wings like flamethrower hot wings, barbecue wings, teriyaki wings, honey mustard wings, terry hot wings. You can get a half dozen for $9.95 or a dozen for $18.95. Served with celery and choice of dressing. So come join us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy some great jumbo wings and lots of fun in our new and improved arcade. And we at Flight Deck Restaurant thank y'all and God bless.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
It's painting season in the Midlands, and Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovation sets the tone for inspired living. Watch your home change from ordinary to outstanding with colors that liven every wall and craftsmanship you can trust. Michael and his team are fully licensed, bonded, and insured. They care for every detail inside and out of your home. Let's give your home the style and care it deserves. Call 922-5615. Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovations, where every project reflects pride.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Phone number 888-898-2525 is the number. Out to Omaha in just a second. Want to remind you that, of course, Omaha's a great town, but it has great steakhouses, and it has the College World Series. But what it doesn't have, Bergie, is a beach. We got a beach.
This is true.
Omaha here in this country, of course there is Omaha Beach over in France, but Omaha here has no beach. If you want to get to the beach here in South Carolina, obviously you're going to go to the Grand Strand. You're going to go to Myrtle Beach. You're going to go to Garden City. You're going to go to Surfside. You're going to go to Pawleys and Litchfield. And the first thing you're going to do when you're planning your vacation and you're looking for the best places to stay, you're going to call Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate at 843-237-4246, 843-237-4246, online at PawleysVacationRentals.com. They'll put you in a great house or a condo. If you're looking to buy property, they will take you through all the steps of getting that deal done. 843-237-4246, your perfect beach getaway, all from Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate, right there in Pawleys Island and Litchfield.
If you plan on going out into the sun, a little PSA, wear sunscreen. Yeah.
Coppertone.
Yeah.
You ever seen the little Coppertone commercial where, you know?
I wore sunscreen today, by the way.
Well, it didn't work.
Yeah, clearly.
I mean,
I think it was Coppertone too, but it didn't work.
Coppertone is excellent. They could be a sponsor of ours one day. Don't say anything negative about
I just didn't apply it well. That's all.
But what's so hard about putting on suntan lotion?
Well, I sprayed it. You know, the bottles of spray. I sprayed it on my face, got some in my eyes.
Most males, like your age and above, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Bergie, we typically have a female who applies it for us. Now, were you not able to, did you not have a female? Maybe your mom?
I was there by myself.
Or your sister?
I was there by myself. Yeah.
Couldn't find a woman to put on your copper tape?
I'm concerned about the fact he couldn't get it on his face.
Well, I mean, I sprayed it on my face. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. There was an old lady named Bernice there.
You sprayed. Bernice couldn't help you out?
I don't think so.
Well, she couldn't get out of her wheelchair and use her cane?
I don't think her arm can go over about,
Were you in an old folks home?
No, no, just my neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Got a lot of old rich people.
I got you.
My neighborhood.
All right. Well, hey, man, you better take care of your skin. Sun is great. Suntans are great, but you get too much, you'll get all wrinkly. Not like me. I mean, look at me. I'm just as smooth as you can be. But you'll get all wrinkly, and all kind of bad things can happen if you get too much. So that number for Jimmy Smith, since we're talking about being out in the sun, 843-237-4246, Paulie's VacationRentals.com. All right, let's head out to Omaha, Nebraska, where they got a lot of things, but they don't have a beach, but they do have the College World Series. But we got 2 off days before we get to the Championship Series. Let's check in with Jason Patterson and welcome in. It's great to have you with us once again. And, man, tell us about last night, LSU and Arkansas, and what you were thinking as that went down.
Oh, just an amazing contest, first of all. I mean, what an incredible baseball game, Phil. And, if you didn't understand why they call the Arkansas Razorbacks the Heartbreakers, the Heartbreak Hogs, you kind of get a window into it after what happened last night. But first things first, you get plenty of just tip of the cap to both teams and the way they fought right down to the wire. And wow, I mean, for 7 innings or so, you rock along, and it's kind of your typical baseball game that's just doing its thing, and you think, all right, here we are in Omaha. How's this going to end? And boy, did it hit a whole new gear come the backside of the 7th inning stretch. And in many ways, your heart breaks for Arkansas. You kind of stand alone. That's a difficult enough of a pill to swallow. But when you put it in the context of what their history has been out here in Omaha, it becomes even more in context, even more difficult. And, for a guy like Dave Van Horn, and he's devoted his life to this game, and to ride that kind of roller coaster. I mean, think about what their week was. You've been out here to a lot of these, and it's not often that you're going to go home and say, well, there's going to be a game from that College World Series that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. Well, this has got at least 2 of them, and they've got Arkansas's fingerprints all over them. Less than 48 hours after Gage Wood throws that no-hitter and you're on the mountaintop, you find yourself eliminated. And in that kind of fashion where it's visions back to what happened to them in 2018, and it's against your Golden Boot rival, and it's in that SEC showdown, and just when it looks like after you score 2 in the top of the ninth to perhaps force a winner-take-all tonight, and your fans and everybody extending their hotel reservations one more evening, just when it looks like that piece of business is settled, LSU is LSU. And how many times have we seen them do exactly what they did? And Jay Johnson and company rolling on to the championship round. But, there's a piece of it that you kind of one side of the coin look at it and say, man, is LSU tough to finish off and even overcome and force a winner-take-all with here in Omaha. And the flip side of that coin is, boy, how tough is it for Arkansas to endure that once again.
I got to believe in that bottom of the ninth, of course, I'm sure there were a lot of Arkansas fans there. They travel well. I know there were a ton of LSU fans there, but the 2 plays in the field, made and not made by Arkansas. When I say made, I mean he did make a play and just didn't turn the double play, and then the outfield play, of course, it was not made. I got to believe that the reaction in the stands was just one of, well, you had the LSU fans, of course, who were celebrating like crazy, and the Arkansas fans had to just be like, I can't believe this is happening to us again. What is it that we've done here in Omaha to put the curse on this baseball team?
Highest of highs and lowest of lows, and you said it perfectly. This team has been painted a combination of, purple and then red. I mean, it was split pretty much down the middle between the 2 fan bases in terms of the energy you were getting from one moment to the next, and how quickly it turned. And I'll say this: the thing you got to love about it on the backside, and it's one of the things that draws to college baseball, and we can talk about it with Dan McDonald and the way he handled himself after they were eliminated. Such a great gentleman in this game. And you could talk about it with Murray State and their staff. And it was true of both coaches again last night. You want to know why we're so drawn so often to the SEC in these matchups? go rerun the last 3 innings of that contest last night, and you'll understand it. Jay Johnson told us in the media room after it was over with. He said, "I don't know if ESPN Classic still exists, but if it is, this one should be on loop." And he's 100% correct, because the way they handled themselves is what maybe impresses you most of all. Because this is a lifetime moment, and it comes around once, and you've worked for so long, and so many have invested so much to make these things reality. And then it ends the way it ends, either in absolute celebration and elation or in complete devastation. And you love the way both coaches handle it. I mean, I tip my cap to both of them. Dave Van Horn gets ready to move on, and he's the gentleman you've always expected him to be, where he picks up the pieces, tries to make sure he takes care of his young men, and is ready to roll on to the next thing and regroup and go at it again for what's ahead of his program moving forward. And Jay Johnson, before he even gathered his entire team up, goes and makes sure he consoles a couple of the Arkansas players, and then turns into complete celebration mode, but comes to the press conference and says just how much more it meant to him, that win, to borrow the SEC slogan that they so often tout, because of who he secured it against and how much respect he has for the guy on the other side. So, yeah, there was a lot of back and forth between those two fan bases and those two teams, but there's a mutual respect between them that shined through even after such a dramatic outcome last night.
Mm-hmm. Jason Patterson, I on CWS, with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And Jason, I'll be the curmudgeon in this whole scenario, because Phil's been awfully nice to Arkansas, claims there's a curse on them. I think they brought it all on themselves last night. Let me start with Dave Van Horn. I never played competitive baseball, but how do I know more about baseball than a guy like Dave Van Horn? What in the world is he thinking pitching to Jared Johnson with the winning run standing at second base? How do you not walk him with first base open? Did he talk about that last night?
He did. He was asked that question. You look at one incident like that, Chris, and you can pick out 15 or 20 more. And when you're on the wrong end of this thing, there's always seemingly those 15 or 20 things that you can point to. And that was kind of his response in the presser last night when he was asked about a number of different things. He said, "Yeah, you can go back now and parse incident after incident after incident." Phil brought up in one of the earlier parts of our conversation, you had the play that was made at third, but was there a chance to turn two there? And there's so many things that you point at and you look at on the backside that at the time everybody goes, all right, well, they got an out, they need one more. And then through the lens of what we now know, it becomes such a glaring decision all of a sudden that it changes everything. And that was kind of his response to that, Chris. He said, yeah, in the game of baseball, when things work out, you look at 1,000 things that you go, boy, we caught a break. And when they don't work out, you look at 1,000 things and say, man, we could have done that differently. And that's certainly a couple of those that fall in that category that Arkansas will spend now a long off season thinking through and talking about. And when you've been around those guys, and you both have, and you've covered so many of these gentlemen in this game as closely as you have, in a moment like that, your heart somewhat aches for them, because you see them on the highest of highs, but at the same time, they experience the lowest of lows. And he made the connection, and it's probably one of the reasons, Chris, why we love baseball so much. He made the connection that baseball, like life, at times will give you the most exhilarating things you could never have dreamed of, and at times will completely rip your heart out. And last night, his team was on the latter side of that.
Yeah, I was stunned they pitched to Jared Jones in that scenario last night. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The other thing that I was surprised were...
I was just going to say, how good has he been? I mean, you think about what he has done in timely moments for LSU in this deal. I mean, you get the 3-run blast the other night. You get the one that ticks off the glove of the second baseman here. And, so many people saying, man, right there on the leather. And you look at that kid. Here's a kid that's been heralded for his return to Omaha, and so many stories made about what a high peak this week has been for him. And then he has things in there, and you see everybody scattering out onto the field, checking on the left fielder, checking on the second baseman, who, just fall to the turf in complete disappointment because nobody wanted it more than they did. And you're right. Those moments like that, just you look back at them and you go, this here, that there. But I fall on the side always of, man, what Jared Jones has done, they continue to challenge him, and he continues to shine for LSU, and he's going to be one of the pieces that Coastal Carolina's got to be really concerned about going into the weekend.
No, there's no question. And we'll get into the championship series matchup in a second with Jason Patterson out in Omaha. The other question, were you surprised that Wahiva Aloy did not show up for the post-game press conference, especially considering, as you mentioned earlier, he may have had the play to end the game on his hands. And for inexplicably to me, he goes to third instead of trying to turn a double play. Was there any explanation as to why he didn't come and face the music a little bit?
Nobody said anything about it. You know how those things are. You know, it's always some question of what order is everything going to happen in and who's going to be there when it is. And obviously that was so much about just trying to, allow Arkansas to give their perspective on what happened and then turn the attention and the emotion to the success of LSU pretty quickly, that it was kind of an in and out scenario, before anything was addressed, and nobody really spoke to why this happened or that didn't happen or he was there or he wasn't there. But, the conversation you had, and I said it, Phil alluded to it earlier, that's one of the key plays in the ballgame that you circle, where a guy who, as, they so often say, and certainly Dave Van Horn said it last night, a guy who's one of the guys, just like the guy on the left, just like so many people that you can talk about, who you're not in this spot without them and the work they've done all year. And yet in that one moment, boy, it comes down to this decision and that decision, because what a different ball game it is if the tying run at second is cut off. What a different ball game it is if somehow you are able to go ahead and get the 2 outs there. We're not talking from a non-game day today. We're talking about a winner-take-all between these two. It's such a slim margin for error in this game. It's what compels us so much to it. It's why we love it so much. And, those conversations are going to continue for an entire offseason, because here we are again with another one of those incredible SEC showdowns in which, there's 10 or 15 things worth conversing about that would have flipped the entire outcome and changed the national championship picture for 2025.
All right, let's leave Arkansas in the dust. Unfortunately, that's their sort of mantra in their pathway out at Omaha. Let's talk about what we got ahead for the weekend. LSU and Coastal, size that up for us a little bit.
Well, I asked Jay Johnson last night, what the importance was of making sure last night happened, and he pointed to what everybody else obviously wants to point to, and that is both teams have their pitching lined up exactly as you would expect it to be. You get the 2 days rest, which, as you well know, in the sport of baseball, you don't want too much rest, because it's a game of repetition, it's a game of rhythm, it's a game of momentum. Nobody understands that more than a Coastal team now on a 26-game winning streak, trying to make it 28 to the tune of a title. So you get the couple of days rest, which is not too much, but enough that your pitching's lined up exactly the way it needs to be. And that really is the beauty of this series. We're always, it's always a interesting mix, Chris, where, you want that extra game that's a winner take all as a baseball fan, but sometimes that extra game, and Phil, we've talked about this before, sometimes that extra game can cheapen the championship series just a little bit because of some of the pieces it takes off the table that you don't have in full for that 3-game series for the title. And if there's any silver lining in not getting the winner-take-all games today, it is this championship series is going to be cheapened in no way, because everybody's arms are ready. Now, you wonder for LSU what's going to happen behind the 1-2 punch. You know what you get out of the 1-2 punch, and you saw what Ianson has done, in addition to what you're getting on that front line. Same way with Coastal. But who are those third and fourth and fifth arms, and where are they going to be utilized really becomes the big question mark for me. For LSU, can a guy like Cowan continue to do what he's done more recently, and not, in the regional, super regional scenario, but here in Omaha? So it really becomes behind what you think you're going to get, what are the other pieces going to provide? That's the fun of it all. But the beautiful thing about it, Chris, to answer your question from my perspective, is both these teams are going to be full song, fully rested. They can line the pitching up exactly how they want, and we're going to get a true championship series between these two teams.
Well, we'll let you go on this. I mean, respect off the field is one thing, and I don't know in baseball if that carries over emotionally, but I did see a comment from one of the LSU players today. It was one of their pitchers who must have been interviewed or at a press conference or something.
I think it was Kate Anderson.
Yeah, I think it was. And he was asked something about, what do you know about Coastal Carolina? And he's like, I know nothing about Coastal Carolina. He said, I thought it was in – didn't he say, I thought it was in North Carolina or something? My point is, I mean, that's fine, and you might not, but maybe it's better to hold your tongue when you're getting ready to play a team that might go out there and wax you, and do they need motivation? They don't need motivation, but why give them motivation,
I always err on the side, Phil, of provide no bulletin board material, right? You want to provide no bulletin board material that gives extra energy and extra momentum to somebody on the other side, particularly when they're rolling in like a freight train the way Coastal Carolina is, not having lost, since the latter stages of the month of April. So I'm with you. I think there is some mutual respect on both sides. I think Coastal Carolina, boy, and what a great year this has been for Coastal Carolina, because, people can say the first time around 2016, okay, flash in the pan, one off, whatever conversation you want to use. I know we know enough about this program to feel differently about that. But a second time in 9 years, and perhaps 2 for 2 in Omaha in a College World Series environment, no question now the respect they deserve is being earned in front of a national audience. And, I'm with you. No bulletin board material needs to be, required. I mean, what Anderson has been. I referenced he and Ianson, and LSU is going to get what they get from them. But that Coastal staff, we've talked about it many times over the last week or so, just as strong. Not too many schools in the country that wouldn't trade their staff for Coastals right now. And particularly, there are very engaging storylines here. Is Morrison going to be able to go completely undefeated? I mean, what he's been, is he going to go perfect through the season, help run this streak to just a phenomenal number of 28 to get the job done? And 2, do we see a third game that's winner take all? And the storylines around this that is going to continue to increase the respect level for Coastal, because, they're going to be told, they're going to be counted and recounted. Phil, you reminded us last night, and the country's going to be reminded that when Coastal won the championship in 16, they went through Alex Box Stadium and got the job done in Baton Rouge. When those stories are recounted and they fight the way we anticipate they will fight across the course of this weekend, it's going to strengthen their brand, and that respect is only going to grow.
It's going to be a great one. We'll let you rest tomorrow so you'll be ready for the weekend, and we'll hit you up Monday night, whether there's a game or it's a review. But we can't thank you enough for your contributions throughout. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks,
Jason. We look forward to
Yep,
absolutely. We look forward to either wrapping it or certainly talking about it if it goes to a winner-take-all. One thing's for sure, this one's one we're going to remember for a long time. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Guy. Appreciate it very much. Jason Patterson from out in Omaha, and we'll see what happens Saturday, Sunday, and possibly Monday. Hey, good news in the sports world today. Did you see the good news? The Yankees beat the Angels 7-3. We are so back. We're back, and we'll be back.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at FutureScholar.com.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
Hey, Jordan Spieth had to withdraw from the PGA event. Where's it up in Connecticut, I believe. Got kind of an apparent neck injury. So sorry to hear that. We'll update what's happening. So, obviously, they're not playing at Oakmont this week because they're like shooting 60, 62, and 63. Yeah, you can tell it's a much different course than what they faced last week. Let's go to Keith in Camden. First call tonight. Welcome in, Keith. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing?
Terrific. Great to have you.
Yeah, y'all were talking about Coastal 2016, and I think it goes back further than that. I don't know if it's 2010, 2011, but Coastal could have been, what was it, a 9-8 South Carolina win in late innings. So, yeah, it's not like they're just Cinderella. I mean, yeah. When was it? Was it 2010 or 2011?
It was 2010, Keith. That was the Christian Walker home run that I believe is still flying out of that ballpark. But and up until this year, I long believed that was the best baseball team that Coastal ever had. But I think I've changed my mind.
Right. Well, that was my point. I mean, they really, should have won that game and could be, three-peat. But
that was the super regional that they played at the Pelicans Park. And if I remember correctly, Bergie, didn't the Coastal pitcher injure himself on like the first play of the game? Their best pitcher twisted his ankle covering first base. And then they had another player go down with an injury. Coastal really hurt itself by having injuries. But then again, the Gamecocks went out and took that thing too, like you mentioned, the Walker home run. The Gamecocks go to Omaha and win the World Series.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Y'all have a good evening. Enjoy the show.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, those were interesting times because, Coastal didn't have a field that was qualified for hosting a regional, and so they played that thing over in Myrtle Beach. Place was packed. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Olympics were going on at the same time, were they not?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't remember.
Why do I remember?
One thing I do remember, it was about 1,000 degrees.
Right.
For both of those games.
I remember I'm sitting in some suites where we were doing the show and having the Olympics on television at the same time, I do think. And we'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump has set a timeline for a U.S. decision on Iran.
The president has been talking about the possibility of joining Israel in strikes against Iran and its nuclear program.
You don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt read a statement from the president.
Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the president will do what's best for America. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Israel's defense minister has threatened Iran's supreme leader after Iranian missiles on Thursday damaged a hospital in southern Israel and hit residential buildings near Tel Aviv. At least 240 people were wounded. Defense Minister Israel Katz blamed Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and said this man absolutely should not continue to exist. Former State Department employee Gabriel Noronha says Iran now finds itself isolated.
No one wants to come and start a war with Israel or the United States if we hit Iran. Russia has abandoned Iran. China's abandoned Iran. The Arabs are rooting us on behind the scenes. And so Iran has lost its proxies, and they have no leverage anymore.
Noronha was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Ground's been broken in Virginia for the rebuilding of one of the nation's oldest black churches. Thursday's Juneteenth ceremony was at Colonial Williamsburg, a museum that owns the land where the church stood. First Baptist Church of Williamsburg officially established itself in 1776. Its free and enslaved congregants erected their first meeting house around 1805. More at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Hi, my name's Neil. I have some advice for you if you've been trying to break free from credit card debt. You can start by doing what I did. Get your bills together and call Trinity Debt Management. Trinity is dedicated to helping people like me become debt-free. When I called, my first experience was a feeling of relief. My counselor was kind, and best of all, she didn't judge me. In just a few minutes, she helped me figure out a plan that consolidated all my bills into one lower monthly payment. This substantially reduced my high interest rates and put me on the road to success. In the end, I saved thousands in interest, and today my credit card debt is a thing of the past.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Neil. Take it from someone who's been there. Call Trinity and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
A U.S. senator says Iran has the power to end its war with Israel immediately, if only it will give up its nuclear program. Bob Agnew reports.
Senator Dave McCormick says he's been asking around in the international community, and one thing's perfectly clear.
Nobody thinks that it is plausible or acceptable that Iran would have a nuclear weapon.
McCormick says the door is still open for the regime to become a regional partner for peace.
But if they cling on to the notion that they're going to maintain a nuclear capability, we have to take it out now. It's a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and we should stand with Israel and support them in doing so.
Senator McCormick was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Bob Agnew reporting.
President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an executive order to keep TikTok running in the U.S. for another 90 days. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters. A SpaceX
On-Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Mostly clear and warm this evening, a low of 71. Tomorrow, similar to today with a mix of sunshine and clouds, we'll have a high of 92, a 20% chance of an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon or early evening. For the weekend, more the same, highs in the mid-90s, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On-Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make the point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network here across the states. Phil Kornblut here in Columbia. Chris Bergen from the Bergie Palace. We have the plumber taking your phone calls behind the board, working things expertly, except that he just looks like a tomato from being out in the sun too much today. It's embarrassing.
I think we should have a seasonal nickname. Tomato.
No, I think plumber works for all seasons.
Okay.
It's a nickname for all seasons. All right, been talking a lot of baseball, some football. Recruiting is coming up. How about we work in some basketball? Because you know what? Here it is, almost July, and college basketball teams have gone back to work. Seems like they never stop preparing for the upcoming season. And there are also camps taking place all around South Carolina, including one right here in Columbia that'll be getting underway shortly. And the young man behind all of that is a rising sophomore at South Carolina, the former star at Lexington High School, Cam Scott. And Cam is joining us here on Sports Talk to talk all about it. And first of all, welcome in. How are you, sir?
Thank you for having me, first and foremost. I'm doing well. How you doing?
We're doing great. It's great having you with us. Let's dive into your camp season, what you got coming up, and who can go out there and learn from you.
Absolutely. This upcoming July, Saturday the 19th, we have the second annual Cam Scott Hoops Camp, which has 2 sessions this year. Last year we only did 1, but, it's just something that, me and my family, we had a long talk about just being able to give back to the community, to the people who've been around supporting me for the longest, just being able to give back some of those things that I've learned, some of those experiences that I've been through, and just teach them to the younger generation. We have 2 groups, like I mentioned. First session, which is grades 3 through 5, 3rd through 5th grade, and 6th through 8th grade will be the second session. And those 2 are very important. The second session holds a parent meeting, which my family will be hosting, and my parents will both be there. So they'll be able to talk to parents about the ups and downs of recruitment, what to expect going into the next level, even the level that you're currently at, and some of the things that they've learned, which they had to encounter firsthand. So being able to get those firsthand sources, like I said, is honestly special, and it's something that a lot of people wish they could have had. Even myself, I wish I could have had more often than not.
Interesting. This is going to be at Pleasant Hill Middle School, which is in Lexington on Rawle Road, and it's coming up on July 19th. I'm looking at your X page, so folks can go to your X page, which is, I'll let you give the address for that, and there's a link in there for registration. Where's the best place to go online for folks to sign up?
You can find the link both in my bio and in my recent post on X and Instagram at TheCampScott23. That's TheCampScott, the numbers 23 on both Instagram and X.
So you're going to be working with young kids, and they'll take away from these camps a lot of memories, a lot of education, but memories more than anything. You, as a young basketball player coming up, what do you recall of your young camp sessions, and who sort of impacted you as you were going to camps?
I was able to go to a lot of camps growing up. Mainly started by Phenom Hoops, which did a lot of local camps like South Carolina Top 100, also Top 80 for the high school level. But camps like those made hoops camps. I was fortunate enough to go to some Nike camps and even some NBA players camps as I got older. But being able to go to all these camps and take away different aspects, I learned a lot, especially through players like NBA camps like Damian Lillard, who is hands-on with his camps, and I think I take that into my camp as well, where I'm able to get in the drills with the kids, have some fun. I like to jump around between drill to drill, so I'm not just sitting there just observing the camp, but I'm participating in it as well, because at the end of the day, I want to have fun with it. It's basketball, and like you said, building those memories. I know I talk to a lot of the kids. I see them at AAU tournaments because my little brother plays as well.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to see them, and they'll still come up to me, hey, I remember your camp. I got a picture at your camp. And, it's just huge, just being able to have that excitement from those kids, just knowing all from the little small thing that I gave back.
Gamecock men's basketball player Cam Scott with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Cam actually has a youth camp coming up in July, and details up on his X page and also his Instagram page. And Cam, I noticed one thing, I found this interesting, that the lunch for your camp is going to be provided by the Big Red radio show. And for folks who don't know, Big Red is a big gospel music artist. How long have you been involved with, I'm assuming you like gospel music. How did you get hooked up with him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, from a young age, my grandmother and my mother, they've always kept me around the church. So being able to have something that kind of grows up with my childhood and be able to include that into my camp is something special. We've been talking with them for a while through my parents and my agency just about even being a little part of the camp, but to have them host the lunch, that's honestly special and huge for not just me, but for them as well.
Well, Cam, before we let you run, obviously I wanted to talk with you about your first season with the Gamecocks and now moving into your second season and what you anticipate maybe changing a little bit from last year, which was clearly a struggle for you guys. But how much do you feel better about this upcoming season and what things you've been able to accomplish here with your new teammates as you're starting to get into summer practice?
Definitely, first and foremost, we want to win a whole lot more games. That's one of the bigger things on our agenda. Just coming in, even with the new guys and the new faces that we have, including the 3 returners and Meach coming back as well, just being able to have everybody there. And I feel like we bond very, very well together. And it's honestly something that I wasn't expecting. But, just the way that I've seen this team just go through a lot together and always hanging out together. And I think it's going to really carry on to the court quickly. So we still have a lot of room to grow with it being only a few weeks into summer, but I'm real excited and real happy to look forward to what we have to bring this winter.
Yeah. What are you seeing? Like you said, there's only you and 2 others returning from last year, so it's a brand new team, and you're one of the one of the 3 older guys on the team as far as your time with the team. What are you seeing as far as some of the newcomers who's sort of caught your eye here early on that you've kind of looked at and said, yeah, this guy's going to be a good player for us?
Definitely, I've caught a lot from a lot of the freshmen just because they're, closer in age to me. Those are sort of guys who I can closer relate to, but being able to see them on the court, they're all willing to learn, and that's something that I know I was huge on coming there as a freshman, just being open to learn and open to try new things, and they've all seemed to adapt very well together and very, very smoothly into our system. And even with the new guys coming in like Mike, like Kobe Knox, like Elijah Strong, like we have a really talented team, and just I can't wait till it's put together because I feel like we have something really special here.
How intense have the workouts been so far?
Very. I mean, we compete each and every time we get on the court. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that we go at each other's head nonstop. So, I mean, we make each other better each and every day. And as a head coach, that wouldn't be more than I could ask for.
Yeah. How tough was it? We're talking to Cam Scott, Gamecock basketball. How tough was it for you personally last season? Not only the team was losing, and for much of the season you weren't getting a lot of run. Then towards the end you started getting a little more playing time, but you being a guy that's used to, going out and scoring a lot of points and kind of dominating, what was that like for you?
I feel like it was actually pretty well. I had the coaches in my corner the whole time, my family, supporters, talking me up the whole way, just telling me stay ready, be ready, because at the end of the day, we're trying to win basketball games, and we got to do what's best for the team. So, I mean, with that being said, just staying prepared, I feel like it helped me mentally build like a stronger foundation based on what I need to get accomplished this year, and even carry that on to other people. Like I said, even with the freshmen coming in, being able to absorb things and absorb information, those are things that I'm willing to give to them and talk them through and help them get through. If I see them struggling on something a little bit, just let them know there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So, I took the bright side out of all my adversity that I went through my freshman year, and I'm really excited for this upcoming year.
You feel like you're a better person, a better player for having gone through that?
Absolutely. Just been training all summer, mentally and physically and for the court, just developing in all aspects. I feel like it's going to translate.
What convinced you to come back? Because if I remember correctly, I think there was a time there where you were maybe entering the portal or thinking about it and then announced you were coming back. What convinced you to come back?
I mean, like I said when I first committed, it's no place like home, and this is where I want to be, and this is where I see myself, and the coaches see me being. They had a great plan for me that we were able to discuss, and we took that in open minds into the portal. But ultimately, this is where we found was the right situation, and this is where we're going to call home.
Well, a new roster and new enthusiasm with it, and I'm sure that the fans will be anxious to see you guys get on the court and see what you can do. In fact, I think I saw where one of the national guys tweeted out South Carolina's going to play NC State in an exhibition game up in
yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah, you looking forward to that?
Absolutely. More than excited for it.
Yeah. All right, so once again, tell folks about your camps and the best way, if they've got some youngsters, for July 19th, how they can get signed up. And this is more, of course, as Bergie touched on with you, there's a lot of stuff going on here besides hoops. That'll be the focus, but it's sort of like a complete day learning seminar type of thing. How can folks get signed up?
You can sign up at the link in my bio on both X and Instagram at TheCamScott23, TheCamScott. The numbers 2 and 3 on both X and Instagram, where we had this camp hosted by Fifth Third. And, July 19th, it's a Saturday. We're definitely open to both males and females. we definitely like to get a huge part of females, the female community involved, because majority of it were younger men, but we have a lot of female coaches coming up this year, so I'm excited to see if we can get both going.
Fantastic. We thank you so much, and congratulations to you on what you're doing, you and your family are doing with the camps, giving back to your community. We always think that's awesome, and we hope you have a great summer, and looking forward to following you and your teammates this coming season, see if you can recover and get things back in the right direction.
Appreciate it, Cam.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anytime you need us, let us know. Thank you, Cam. Good talking to you.
Absolutely. You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Cam Scott, South Carolina basketball, and I got to believe he's going to have a breakout year. Give him a chance, give him the ball, and get out of the way. Be my approach.
That's a pretty smart idea. Very well-spoken young man. I really enjoyed that conversation. And one thing, if you're looking at getting into the media, he just gave you a blueprint as to how you do things. He even spelled out probably one of the easiest names we ever deal with, C-A-M-S-C-O-T-T.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, but I was impressed with how he handled things.
Very smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible high school talents. I don't know what happened last year and what wasn't going on for him that kept him on the bench for an extended period of time. Towards the end, he got a little more playing time, and then that SEC game, tournament game, I think they played – who'd they play? Was it Arkansas? They played in the tournament, that one game. I think he scored like 8 or 10 points. He was starting to show some things.
Yeah.
That's why when he first went into the portal, or it looked like he was – did he actually go into the portal?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like, man, that's a shame, because I thought we saw some development and some growth, and if you just hang in there, maybe you can take that next step at South Carolina. And he came back, which was a good thing for them. If Lamont Paris and Eddie Shannon and the staff there, if they've hit on some players that they hope they have both, it's a good-looking high school class and augmented with the guys you've brought out of the portal. I mean, it should be a complete turnaround for Gamecock basketball. For whatever reason, it just didn't work last season, But a healthy Miles Stute, maybe an improved Jordan Butler, maybe an improved Cam Scott. Those are three good starting blocks right there to build on with the new guys coming in.
And the experience of Michi Johnson returning too.
Absolutely. And we appreciate Cam Scott being with us and allowing us to pass the word around the state about his camp. July 19th at the Cam Scott 23. Be back.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, Boating safety is no accident.
Okay, appreciate Cam Scott being on with us here tonight on Sports Talk. We'll have that interview up for you later on tonight on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. Make sure you check out the website, SportsTalkSC.com. Make sure you give us a follow on YouTube at Sports Talk Media Network, also on Facebook at Sports Talk Media Network, and our X account, SC Sports Now, SC Sports Now. X has not pulled the plug on our account for now going on like 5 months or so. That's a good thing.
Come on, you can't say that.
They haven't.
Well, they haven't, but that you just cursed it.
Well, maybe I have. Maybe I did. Maybe I'm the Omaha. Maybe that's our Omaha to Arkansas. It's the jinx. We'll have recruiting
They're not
coming
cursed.
up.
They played bad baseball. They deserve to lose.
Man,
Stop it.
You're just heartless. You're just heartless.
The only thing I felt bad for, like I mentioned, was the left fielder for Arkansas, but it should not have come to that.
Yeah.
Hiva Aloy is supposed to be the best player in college baseball. How he doesn't make a double play is beyond me. And Dave Van Horn is supposed to be one of the smartest guys in the business. I know not to pitch to Jared Jones in a situation like that.
I do not disagree. Let me get to a couple of text messages coming in at 803-900-4847. That's 803-900-4847 to send us a text. How much do you think the colleges are offering Duckworth? I would imagine his NIL is going to be in the neighborhood of $1.5 to $2 million. That would just be a guess on my part. I don't think he's going to be in that $4 million range coming out of high school. I don't think it's that. Though his showing at the Elite 11, maybe that's going to push it up. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about since you're asking the question. Bobby in Georgetown says the Gamecocks, he refers to them as we will need Sellers to run the football. When he needs to, he's earned let's see. Let me try that again. We will need Sellers to run the football when he needs to. He's earned that. Seems like in bowl game, he was told not to run, or he was hurt. And Illinois seemed to know he wasn't going to run, and it hurt us. Let him run, and it will help free up backs and receivers. I cannot disagree with that. That makes a lot of sense. Hopefully it wasn't an injury deal. This is baseball. I coached baseball for over 25 years. Coastal has pitching, hitting, and they play excellent fundamental baseball. Coming from the 803.
Very true.
Yeah, you're right. Very solid, very, very complete ball club. To Tiger Bryan, we go next back to the phones. And Tiger Bryan, welcome in. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Sitting at the pool, been swimming.
All right, well, listen. Hang on. Did you put copper tone on before you went out?
Oh yeah, mom puts that 70 on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want me to look like a Mexican when we first got married. You know what I mean? I got gray hair now, Colin. You know what I mean? She's 2 years old. You don't want to put that daggum Alvalo medicine on me.
Yeah.
If I get burnt.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you what.
Yeah.
Hey. Wiggles Williams. Matt Williams' daddy.
Oh yeah.
Steve Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Steve.
Well, I don't know him personally, but you've talked about him.
Oh man, he's great, man. Hey, his boy, he's a hell of a damn pitching coach for Coastal. Coastal's gonna win it all. I'd bet my house on it.
Ooh.
I'd bet $450,000 what my house is. But what I pay taxes on.
No.
I bet the house on them.
That must be.
They'll beat them 2 out of 3.
How many acres you got?
Huh? I got 3 acres. Yeah.
How many floors? How many stories?
It's about 2,200 square foot. 3,000. 2,000 square foot shop.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
Hey. All right. Hey, old Tiger Bryan now, hey, I've done heating there all my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
tough to cool a house days like this, right? What do you tell people?
No, it ain't. No, what you got to do is keep the blinds shut and the doors shut when it's humidity.
Yeah.
When it's humid like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Now the next couple of days it's gonna be 100 degrees. Okay, don't even go outside until early in the morning and late in the evening. Like now. I mean,
those air conditioning units, they're working overtime, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but you got to service them. You got to have you have somebody service your unit, clean the coals.
Actually, I do.
Well, and you got to have somebody change the filters every month, just like your power bill.
You're right. Got to keep those filters clean.
I mean, I've done it all my life. I mean,
Understand.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna charge you for this.
Send it to the plumber. Send the invoice to the plumber. He takes care of all my minor bills.
But you know what? Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all guys what. Hey, we talking. Hey, I pulled up a Matt Williams, the pitching coach. I knowed him when he was a youngin'. I worked at the school there. He played ball at Langston. Yeah, his daddy was the coach.
Doing a heck of a job.
I tell you.
And I mean,
he got
thrown out of that. He got when they fired Mark Kingston. Of course, he had to go somewhere, and Coastal picked him right up.
He got fired out of South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let me tell you one more thing. Hey, y'all see all the recruiting Clemson getting football?
Yeah.
Man, them game calls, they hollering about old Golden Boy quarterback for South Carolina. Our defense is going, he'll get hurt before he keeps running the ball. He'll get hurt before.
Tiger Bryant, I mean, last thing I recall, he was running through Clemson's linebackers, and they were the ones that were getting hurt. Now, I'm just going by what I saw last year. Is he gone? He'll pick that back up next time he calls. But it's true. I mean, come on, Clemson people. You can't say anything about Lenore Sellers because he busted y'all's butt last November.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Mostly clear and warm this evening, a low of 71. Tomorrow, similar to today with a mix of sunshine and clouds, we'll have a high of 92, a 20% chance of an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon or early evening. For the weekend, more the same, highs in the mid-90s, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
We'll get to with SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Celebrations are being held around the country to commemorate the Juneteenth holiday, marking the day in 1865 when Union soldiers brought the news of freedom to enslaved black people in Texas. The day remains a federal holiday. The Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire has been holding events for the past 2 weeks, though the state itself hasn't made the holiday a permanent paid and legal one. As Israel and Iran exchanged more attacks, President Trump sought to keep open the door to diplomacy on Tehran's nuclear program, saying he would make up his mind within 2 weeks on whether the U.S. military will get directly involved in the conflict. Earlier on Thursday, Israel's defense minister threatened Iran's supreme leader after Iranian missiles damaged a hospital in southern Israel. This is SRN News.
Hey, it's Kev. I'm hanging out with Ken, the owner of Broker Solar, a local company. Now, Ken, I know you have some solar pet peeves. These national guys, they're just not very honest.
One of the common myths in the solar industry is that you can get solar for free or some kind of government-paid solar, and that's simply not the truth. But what you can get is a solid investment that has tax credits that will pay you back for years to come. That's one of the things that we promote at Broker Solar is proper education in what solar is and how you can take advantage of the incentives that are out there, local and federal.
Tell me more about these tax credits.
There's currently a huge federal tax credit that gets you a third of the system cost back. And on top of that, the state of South Carolina, we're lucky enough to have an extra 25% of that solar system cost come back to you in the form of tax credits, totaling for a 55% discount on your solar system back in tax credits.
Call Broker Solar. Call them now, 803-807-7417 or online, brokersolar.com.
It's painting season in the Midlands, and Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovation sets the tone for inspired living. Watch your home change from ordinary to outstanding with colors that liven every wall and craftsmanship you can trust. Michael and his team are fully licensed, bonded, and insured. They care for every detail inside and out of your home. Let's give your home the style and care it deserves. Call 922-5615. Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovations, where every project reflects pride.
Discover the seamless blend of comfort and style with Lexington Discount Homes. With over 30 years of excellence in the housing industry, our focus is on delivering your dream home with unparalleled customer service. Explore a variety of designs tailored to meet any preference and budget. Drop by our showroom at 1847 Augusta Highway to witness the craftsmanship of a Lexington home firsthand, or explore online through a comprehensive virtual tour at LexingtonDiscountHomes.com. Choose comfort, choose style, choose Lexington Discount Homes.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the Sunburned Plumber coming at you on this Thursday night. It's been a busy show. It's flying by. We'll have the recruiting report coming up for you here in just a few minutes, but let's continue to cover Coastal Carolina in the College World Series. We heard from Josh Patterson out in Omaha. Let's welcome now. Jason Patterson. Heard from him, too. Heard from Jason and from Josh. Yeah, brothers, twin brothers. Let's welcome in Coach Chad Holbrook from the College of Charleston, who has been providing his analytical breakdown of the series for us. Great to have you with us once again, and what a night last night was. What'd you think sitting there watching it?
Still in shock, honestly. I'm at a loss for how Arkansas must feel today, and obviously how that young man felt last night. But if you watch that last inning and you pay really, really close attention to it, it's a lot more happened than just that last play. It just kind of they dropped the ball defensively on two plays prior to that. No one's talking about a lot of people are talking about the shortstop feeding the third baseman and kind of forfeiting or ending the game with the double play, but not anybody's talking about the play the first baseman made going after the routine ground ball to the second baseman and not covering first base, and that kind of opened up the floodgates there. So it was two routine plays, and I know you can't ever assume a double play, but with an All-American at short, that was pretty slam dunk that was going to be a double play. And then before that, the routine ground ball to the second baseman that the first baseman inexplicably went after on a ball to his right against the left-handed hitter. That opened up the opportunities for LSU, and having been in Omaha, that left field play, that's a hard play for two reasons. One, if those low line drives at night in Omaha, if they get in those lights and it doesn't come out of it, very, very difficult. It's a difficult play. You'll lose the ball. Our outfitters used to talk about it all the time out there. And on top of that, it was balls that get up over the lights, easy play. Balls that stay under the lights, easy play. Those balls that stay in the lights and that ball had top spin on it, it was a tough play, and I hate it for that young man. We had an incredible year, and like Coach Van Horn said after the game, we wouldn't know we've been close to playing in the College World Series without him. But he's going to unfortunately remember that play the rest of his life.
Yeah, I mean that's listen, you're taught from a very early age, like coming up in baseball, when the ball is hit to you, you're like the pitch or two before, you're thinking, the ball's hit to me, here's where I'm going to go with it. Here's where I'm going to go with it, right? I mean, isn't that what you teach your guys? Know where you're going to go before the ball's hit to you?
Yeah, that's what you're taught, and that's what I'm sure. And there's not a better coach in the country than Dave Van Horn. So I'm sure that's what he teaches them, and they're probably in double play depth as well. I mean, when the game's on the line and you're playing for an opportunity in the national championship and you're on national TV, sometimes the unexplainable happens, and that's the only way. I was at a loss. I mean, as soon as he threw that ball to third base, I was like, oh boy, what that would have ended the game. Yeah. And credit to Kyle Peterson and Chris Burke. They didn't magnify either one of those plays. They tried. The kids are amateur players. I mean, actually, probably not now with the way NIL works. Yeah. But that being said, college baseball is an amateur sport, and there's no reason to pile on the kid when they make mistakes, because we all make them. We're human beings. But those were just critical mistakes at the wrong time. And it comes on the heels of a play that they could have made, 5-6 years prior against Oregon State, in which, a young man he couldn't quite make a play in foul territory that would have ended the game and won them the national championship. And so it's got to be even doubly heartbreaking for them to have an opportunity to have the opportunity to play for a berth in the national championship series and kind of slip through their hands. And honestly, if you look at it on paper, they were probably, if they won that game last night, they were probably sitting in a pretty good position against LSU the second game. It's unexplainable. And I've been there. I mean, in 2006, we lost the national championship game against Oregon State on a pretty routine defensive play. And when the pressure's on and the stakes are high and your season rests on one play, sometimes young people make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened last night.
Mm-hmm. College of Charleston head baseball coach Chad Holbrook with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And Coach, it's clear you've got a lot of respect for Dave Van Horn, so help me out here a little bit, because I've been awfully critical of his decision. So I'm going to ask a coach. I've got a coach on. I'm going to ask Chad Holbrook. If you're in that scenario last night, you've got Jared Jones, one of the best hitters in the country, coming up. The winning run is at second base. First base is open. Does Chad Holbrook pitch to him?
Well, I don't know the numbers like they know the numbers, probably. And I was asked that question earlier today. And I will tell you this. The young man that's on deck is feared as far as a baseball player in college baseball. SEC coaches don't like Josh Pearson. And I believe I think I'm correct, is he was on deck. And at that point in time, the numbers say right versus right. I'll give you a little history lesson. In a way, and I'm not saying this is a lesson. This is how coaches think. When you're on the fence of what to do, you play the numbers. When it could go either way, your brain's telling you one thing, your gut's telling you another, and you're just on the fence. You just say, okay, I'm going to play the numbers because the numbers give us and then you can sleep at night. And I guarantee you what happened was Dave Van Horn looked at the numbers of his pitcher versus right-handed hitters, and probably they faced each other earlier in the year, and he probably went on a little bit of history of how successful his pitcher has been against that hitter in that spot, and he probably played the numbers. And do I sit here and see your point of view of why you pitched to him? Absolutely. After a home run, the play that actually kind of confused me a little bit is not the play, the pitch is the first pitch fastball that they gave him in the eighth when he hit the solo home run to tie the game. Obviously, he struggles against sliders. I mean, and the young man pitching for Arkansas had a great slider. I mean, he has a great slider. And he tried to get ahead with a fastball, and he threw it right down the middle. And a great hitter and a great player in a big spot did what he's supposed to do with it. And that was a little bit more shocking to me than pitching to him in that spot, honestly. Just because you gave a pitch to it, you gave the one pitch that hitter has great success on. And here's what I say to you about that. When that young man steps in the box, there's a runner in scoring position. You know what I mean? Like when he steps in the box, there's a runner in scoring position. And they threw that first pitch fastball in there like there wasn't a runner in scoring position, and they paid the price for it. And in that scenario, though, I guarantee you, they had a lot of data in front of them, and they probably didn't know. They were probably on the fence of what to do, and they just went with the numbers. And it's tough. Dave Van Horn's one of the best. Did he make a mistake? Yeah, hindsight's 20/20, and it's a lot easier to manage a game. Believe me, I was sitting there watching it and going through every moment with him like I was. It's a gut-wrenching game, and that's the beauty of baseball. You can do what you think is the right play in statistic, and it end up being wrong. And then on the flip side, you cannot play the numbers, and you can do something incredibly stupid, and it work out well for you. That's just baseball. But yes, did he? I see your point. Did he allow the best hitter on LSU's team and the hottest hitter to win the game? Yeah, he did. But he also had a guy on deck that kills right-handed pitching, and all they needed was a single. And that Pearson guy, I can tell you, across SEC circles, there's not much more. SEC coaches have tons of respect for that kid, that Pearson boy, and because he gets big hits all the time. And I'll flip another number on you. That right-handed pitcher for Arkansas probably has struggled from time to time getting left-handed hitters out. So all those numbers went into play to make the decision he did. It didn't work out well for him, and that's baseball. Sometimes you make what you think is an educated decision, and it just not go your way.
And see, Phil, when we have somebody who has a much better credibility in terms of an answer, that's why I asked Coach Holbrook that question.
Good question.
Now I understand.
Good question, better answer.
Well, I'm not saying it's the right explanation. I'm telling you what coaches do in a dugout. I'm not saying it ended up being wrong. Obviously, the way it worked out, it ended up being wrong. But when you have to make a decision before the result, you go with the numbers, and I guarantee you that's what Dave Van Horn did. He went with the numbers over his gut instinct, and it didn't work out.
Fair, very fair. All right, let's move to Saturday in the championship series, and I've heard this story. They mentioned it last night on ESPN. I've also heard it from some Coastal players, so I wanted you to confirm. After you guys beat Coastal prior to the 26-game winning streak, did you actually go over to their coaching staff and say, don't worry, you're probably not going to lose another game? And if so, what did you see in that team after you beat them that has obviously played out here the last month and a half?
Well, I'm actually standing at that dugout right now. I was going back and practicing my son, and I'm looking at where those coaches are sitting when I walk by the field and walk by them. I just they were down in the dumps a little bit. They'd lost a game. We'd beat them for the second time of the year, and they're a little bit down in the dumps. But they had a special team, and I knew they had a special team. And I walked by them and I said, guys, Matt Williams and I go way back. Kevin Schnall and I go, there's long relationships there. Much respect, both sides. And I said, hey, you guys have a great team. There's nothing to be down about, because in a couple of weeks you're going to be playing in a regional on your home field, which a lot of teams would die for. You're probably going to be a national seed, which they ended up getting screwed and not being a national seed, but it might have been the best thing for them. and you're going to have a chance to play in the College World Series. And by the way, I've looked at your schedule. You're probably not going to lose a game the rest of the year. And did I say it? Yeah, I said it. Did I really think it? I don't know if I thought. I mean, baseball, it's one of those. You could have put the New York Yankees over here or whoever, the Dodgers, and you're going to lose a game. It's baseball. You're going to, but yeah, I did say it, and part of why I said it is a lot of respect for the way they play. They had a special team. You could see it. Sometimes you get a feeling when you're in another dugout of what the other team has, and they have a special team, and you could feel it, and you could sense it in the way they play, the way they go about their business, the at bats they put together, the way they play defense, the way they run the bases, and obviously the way they pitch. And it's not just a starting pitching staff. They got pitchers that start the game, they got pitchers in the middle of the game, they got pitchers at the end of the game, and they're all quality. Everybody likes to use the word SEC and SEC speed in football and a SEC pitching staff in baseball. Well, I mean, if you're going to coin that term, they got that. They got an SEC pitching staff, and it's legit. So all those people that think that LSU's the favorite and they got the upper hand here and they're going to win. Pump the brakes. Yeah. Pump the brakes. Coastal Carolina can every bit win that thing, and I think it's a very evenly matched series. And I live in this great state of South Carolina. I have much respect for Kevin Schnall, and like I told some people today, this weekend I'm a big Coastal Carolina fan. I'm gonna be pulling hard for them, and I hope they represent our state and win a national championship. It'll be cool to have someone else win multiple national championships in this state, and who would have thunk it would have been Coastal Carolina? That's much respect to them. They have put themselves in a great position, and they have a really, really good chance at winning it.
I'll tell you who would have thunk it. Nobody. Going back 10, 12 years, nobody. I mean, it was you and it was y'all in Clemson, and
right. So
you're obviously pulling for Coastal. You're picking Coastal. You think they can win it in two?
I'm not going to pick against the team down the road and the team. We're neighbors. Uh-huh. I'm pulling for them and I'm picking them. Does that mean they're going to win? No, absolutely not. Yeah. But they have played at a high level. They're very deserving of where they are. And I think what you have in this national championship series is you have the best two teams in college baseball playing for the championship, and that's really, really cool that it's shook out that way, and it makes for great theater. You got the big bad LSU Tigers has won tons and tons of national championships and a fixture in college baseball, and then you got the up and comer, so to speak, or but a national power in its own right that deserves everything. But it's almost like you feel like it's a David and Goliath situation, but it's far from that because Goliath's got a few things to sling. I mean, David's got a few bullets in his holster, and they can win. And I don't see it like that. You see it based on history and LSU being in the SEC and Coastal Carolina. Obviously doesn't play in a Power 4 league, but I can tell you that between the white lines, player for player, Coastal can win it if they play at an elite level. And I think that's what you're going to get here is the team that plays the best, the team that plays the best defense, the team that pitches the best, the team that gets the biggest two-out hits and keeps innings alive. That's the team that's going to win. And I think whichever team wins is going to play at a high level in all facets of the game. You're not going to be able to drop one. You're not going to be able to be average in one facet and win. The teams are too good and they're too evenly matched.
Great stuff from you, sir, and we really appreciate it. You enjoy the weekend and the baseball, and if it all works out, we'll hit you up one more time on Monday. We might be talking about a championship, or we might be talking during a Game 3 if you'll give us some time.
That'll be great. Yeah, you count on me. I'll be glad to come on, and as a fellow South Carolinian, this weekend I'm a big Coastal Carolina fan, and I hope they go out there and play well and win the whole thing.
Thank you, Coach. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, Chad Holbrook. Boy, that's some great stuff right there.
It really was.
I love we can get a coach talking X's and O's with us and just breaking it down,
In my broadcasting career as a play-by-play guy, if I ever question anything during the game, I feel like it's my responsibility to then ask the coach why they did X, Y, and Z. So I thought Coach Holbrook would answer that extremely well. Boy, he had a better answer than I could have anticipated.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's Corbett. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III. Heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, it is recruiting time, brought to you by Seawells. It's Roast Beef Friday, RBF. Tomorrow, get there for the daily luncheon buffet. If you're not there tomorrow, you will be regretting it. You'll be kicking yourself all weekend long. So go there so you don't kick yourself, 11 till 2. And when you need the very best in the catering business, simply call Seawells. And that phone number is 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Today, Clemson got the commitment from defensive end Dre Quinn, 6'4", 217 of Beaufort, Georgia, surprising most of the national recruiting media, but not Paul Strelo of Tiger Illustrated. I told you last night that Paul had written, "Don't count out Clemson," and he wrote it in such a way that led you to believe that he knew that Clemson was getting him. He usually knows. And then he issued a projection for Clemson this morning. So he kind of had the information that Quinn was going to fall the Tigers' way. And he is apparently a very good defensive end, 42 tackles last year, 9.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. He is the second defensive end commitment for the 26th class, and the Tigers now have 19 commitments in the class. Another of their targets announces tomorrow, that's safety Joey O'Brien. Coming off a visit to Notre Dame, the feeling is he's going to go Irish, though Penn State is also in there very strongly with him. Not hearing Clemson very strongly with him at this point. Landon Duckworth out at the Elite 11. Who's it going to be for him, South Carolina or Auburn? He'll be in to visit South Carolina this weekend. We spoke with his coach again last night to kind of get a little more insight. His coach, Cody Flournoy, just to sum it up, and he's an Auburn guy, but he believes it's going to be South Carolina. He believes South Carolina is the best place for Duckworth to go to for the path to have a chance to play early, maybe even if you're good enough and you work hard enough to go in and be a first-year starter if you're good enough and you work hard enough. Relationships are very big here. The family is very, very comfortable with Shane Beamer and Mike Dula. The mom likes Shane Beamer a lot. That, too, is very important in a situation like this here. So even though he did recognize the in-state pool of Auburn for Jackson, Alabama can be something. In Jackson, it's either Auburn or Alabama, and he knows the in-state pool of Auburn can be something for a kid there, but he does believe South Carolina's in very good shape in this particular case. They expect that when they come back from the West Coast, they'll take some time and sort through things, and then after the visit to South Carolina, they come back from the West Coast, the visit to South Carolina, they'll take some time and sort through things. He needs a break. He's been running 7-on-7s and recruiting visits and camps and now the Elite 11, so he needs to have a chance to sit down and discuss things and hear things out. So the money's not going to be an issue because either place he goes, he's going to do fine financially, so that's not going to be an issue. South Carolina offered 2027 defensive end Success Nabude, or maybe Wabude. 6'7", 245 out of Athens. He was in camp today, and also the Gamecocks offered 2028 defensive tackle Major Green, 6'5", 325 IMG Academy. He was in camp today as well. Clemson target linebacker Tyler Atkinson is going to visit Texas this weekend. He's already been to Clemson, Georgia, and Oregon. Scheduled officials for South Carolina this weekend: cornerback Samari Matthews, offensive guard Trey Aiken, tight end Tilden Riley, receiver Samori and Wingo, offensive tackle Darius Gray, safety Javian Currents, who's committed, safety Tamarian Watkins, offensive tackle Desmond Green, and announcing this afternoon that he's visiting, or actually this evening, wide receiver Sequel Patterson from Indianland, going to take an official to South Carolina this weekend. South Carolina target cornerback Kerry Adams is projected by On3 for Notre Dame. He was there this past weekend. South Carolina offered 2028 defensive end Kyle Pope, 6'2", 228 out of Cartersville, Georgia. Cornerback Jordan Best of Ridgeview was offered by Virginia. Wide receiver Jaden Boyd of Fairfield Central going to take an official visit to Duke this weekend. 2027 wide receiver Tajay Wilson of Belton Honeypath was offered by Virginia Tech. Catawba Ridge 27 cornerback Joshua Dobson was offered by Oklahoma. 27 defensive end Jaden Bryant of Irma was offered by SMU. Former Clemson left-hander Ethan Darden committed at Texas A&M. Former Clemson outfielder and pitcher T.P. Wentworth committed to Oklahoma State. Former Clemson and South Carolina second baseman Nolan Naraki committed to Tulane. Former Clemson left-hander Jackson Cole is transferring to the Citadel. Valparaiso left-hander Caden Kaiser is transferring to the Citadel. South Carolina basketball target 6'9" Justin Caldwell was offered by Boston College. There you go. That is recruiting tonight, Mr. Bergen.
Did you say the kid's first name is Success?
His name is Success.
Very nice.
Yeah. Let's hope in his life he lives up to it.
No doubt.
You have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.